Okay, welcome to TribPreps football recap week 8. A lot of stuff happened tonight. Some expected, some unexpected. I'm Todd Sommerfeldt, sports editor here at the Lacrosse Tribune. This is James Krause here with me. We're going to talk about everything that happened tonight, including the games that we were at, as we always do. Let's start out with a quick score list. I'll go as quickly as I can. Onalaska 21, Baraboo 20 in the MVC. Central 15, Sparta 8, which means Central has a chance to at a share of the championship next week if things go its way. Onalaska gets knocked off and Central can beat Logan. Logan 49-14 over Holman. That's one I didn't expect. Toma 13-6 over Reedsburg. Over in the Cooley, Aquinas 45-16 over Viroqua. West Salem 45, Black River Falls 8. Westby 27, GET 6. Altoona 36, Arcadia 6. Scenic Bluffs, Cashton still undefeated, 45-6 over Royal. Bangor 31-7 over Onalaska Luther. I thought that would be a closer game. James was there, we'll talk about that later. Brookwood 47-0 over Necedah. Over in the Dairyland, Melmin 31-16 over Whitehall. Blair Taylor 46-32 over Elita Strum. Prairie du Chien 21-0 over Broadhead Judah. Thanks Blackhawks, you ruined my cousin Randy's birthday. He's the stat guy for Broadhead Judah for decades. It was his birthday, you shut him out. That's all right. He'll live. North Crawford 12-0 over DeSoto. Big one, Caledonia 27, Chatfield 0. That was number 2 versus number 3 in Class AA Minnesota. And Caledonia came through big. Let's start with my game. Then we'll go to your game. I was at Onalaska, which again showed that it owns the 2-point conversion. Tonight didn't win with it, or they won with it, didn't score it, but they stopped Baraboo with a minute 30 left on a 2-point conversion to win that game by 1 point. As Tom Yashinsky said, we're 1 point better than a lot of teams in our conference.
And that's all you need.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they beat Central and Logan with late conversions in the fourth quarter. This time Baraboo scored with a minute 30 left. They go for 2, and Onalaska gets the stop. It was a good night I guess Baraboo ran for 292 yards.
Right.
They were gashing Onalaska all night. I was keeping a tally. They had 14 runs. I think it was 14 of 10 yards or more in the game. Onalaska did get stops. Baraboo kind of helped it. First drive of the game, Baraboo got down to the goal line and fumbled into the end zone. Onalaska recovered it. That loomed pretty big in this thing. Onalaska didn't get its first lead until 21-14 in the fourth quarter. I think it was 4:52 left. They scored. Adam Skifton to Brody Mitchell for the second time of the night. That was a short touchdown pass to give them the lead. There was a penalty on the extra point, which moved it back 5 yards, but the Hilltoppers still made the extra point. Onalaska got another stop and got the ball, but they could only take a minute off the clock. And then Baraboo, Luke Patengo had a couple of big runs and ended up scoring the touchdown. Like I said, got stopped on the conversion. So another 1-point win for the Hilltoppers, who have now won, either shared or won outright the MVC 5 times since 2016. It's the second time in a row. And maybe not a lot of people still anticipated them being there after the 0-2 start.
Yeah.
I think it never really left my mind that they had a chance to do that. But boy, all these close wins. I don't know how old Tom Yashinsky's going to be by the end of this season, but it's getting them where they want to go. They have a chance to be an undefeated conference champion, which is big in the playoffs. They have to go to Toma next week to take care of that. Toma did win tonight over Reedsburg. Reedsburg's team's been struggling though. Toma only won.
And Toma's a team that is really good at running the ball with Logan Rufflet.
Yep.
So
that's something. Happy you're ready for it again.
Yeah.
Ready for it again. The big drive. One more thing I'll say about this game. The big drive that Onalaska got to go ahead. There were a couple really big plays on it. I think it was a 3rd and 12. Skifton hit Mitchell for a play that looked dead in the water that he somehow spun out of in the middle of the field and got to the sideline and turned into an 18-yard gain to keep that drive going. Like I said, on 3rd and 12. And then Cam Cornett on a 4th and 2 had a 13-yard run right up the middle. Really good plays for them. Brady Kuhn had a good night, recovered the onside kick at the end, and I think he had 45 yards, not on a ton of carries. Scored a touchdown, which is a big deal for him after coming back for injury, I think. So that takes care of my game at Onalaska. Tell us a little what happened at Bangor. I thought this was going to be a closer game.
Yeah, Bangor just ran all over them like they sort of expect to against a lot of teams, but I guess we didn't really expect it against Luther. The thing that just stood out was Luther's offense couldn't get anything going, especially in the second half. 4 3-and-outs to start. They finally get a first down in the fourth quarter now that they're down by 3 scores and they need to get offense generated. And Jackson Kendall gets pressured in the pocket after he bobbles the snap. It's intercepted, and Cashton pretty much seals it from there. Bangor, I'm sorry. I have Cash on the mind because Luther plays Cashton next week.
Yep.
And if Luther can somehow bounce back from this and beat Cashton, it's a 3-way. Yeah, it's a mess for the Scenic Bluffs, where all those teams have a share of the title. Bangor, 140 yards rushing for Samuel Prop. He also had a receiving touchdown. Chase
receiving touchdown in Bangor.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
The one reception of the game, and it was they called timeout really quick in the third quarter. They installed it, I guess, this week, and called it the right time. The sideline was super excited to execute it.
Oh, okay.
And Samuel was very excited to have a receiving touchdown to his resume.
Okay.
Chase Horseman had 77 yards and 2 touchdown runs. He also recovered him off a punt, returned that for a touchdown as well. Bangor, it was as you would sort of expect with Bangor, where they're going to pound the ball on offense, and then defensively they're going to get the stops they need in order to win the game. This was as close as Todd Grant said, and I heard some other people say, as close to a 4-quarter game as they've had this season. So
good
this
time to have it.
Yeah, definitely. So they're definitely picking up pace as they head towards the playoffs. Meanwhile, Luther, we've kind of seen it through their stats all season. There's a team that can really, to use a baseball analogy, they can get home runs. But tonight, when they needed, little bit at a time, and to take whatever Bangor was giving them, they couldn't really get it done. They struggled to stay in front of the sticks a lot tonight, but they're going to try and regroup. They're at home against Cashton next week, and that would be a huge boost for them going into the playoffs. Of course, also Cashton wants to finish the season undefeated. Yeah,
so big game there. Other big games next week. Aquinas will be at West Salem. That'll have the Cooley Conference Championship on the line. Aquinas already has a share. West Salem wants a share, so does Westby. So Westby's going to be West Salem fans next week. See if that can happen.
And Bangor fans are going to be Luther fans next week.
Logan Central, Battle for the Arc goes on next week at UWL. Logan, that big win. Johnny Lever had a big night. Bradley Check also played very well. That was a close game at one point until Logan really kind of pulled away on that one. Let's see, Caledonia, Nathan Stendel, had 2 touchdown runs and a touchdown pass in that one. Owen Denstead with the other touchdown. The Parade Sheen game, Blake Theory, 3 touchdowns, like 178 yards, something like that. That's why he's going to Tennessee and Nebraska and Iowa State for visits, even though it's for a long snapper or tight end.
Hey man, you never know.
But he's carrying the ball very well. I think he had like 27 carries tonight. That was a big win over Broadhead Judah. Broadhead Judah having a really good year this year. I think that was about all that jumped out at me about this. Anything else you want to talk about? I
saw Aquinas had a blocked punt return for a touchdown, so they got a pretty big boost. They had a 30-0 first quarter. They dominated Viroqua like they'd expect, but
no one player with a huge night. It was pretty spread around.
Yeah, it was pretty spread around, but I think that it stood out to me from that game is that's a team you can come away and say you had a special teams touchdown, and that gives them a boost. Cashton again dominant. Toma needed 2 touchdowns early, and that's all they need to beat Reedsburg. Again, I think that, we'll have our hands full with tons of matchups, but now I think that Onalaska Toma game is really interesting.
Roughly had over 200 yards again tonight?
211 yards, 2 touchdowns, both in the first quarter on long runs. Onalaska, I know early in the year had issues stopping the run. They struggled again tonight against Baraboo, and we'll see what they can figure out ahead of Toma.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about all that stuff in a week. But for now, thanks for joining us at TribPreps here and watching these recaps. Everything that we do, lacrossetribune.com, put all our stories up there, all our photos up there, all our videos up there. If it's hard to find, you follow the sports tab on the top, and then once you click that, there'll be a high school tab. You can find that. We're gonna have James in Whitewater tomorrow for Whitewater UWL football. So watch Lacrosse Tribune for that. Watch his Twitter account for updates kind of throughout the game. A big one for the Eagles there. And yeah, so until next week, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.